All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. I hope everybody is doing well tonight. We are going to pick up where we left off last time, which is with the terrain material sort of editing and whatnot. So we're going to pick that up. Adam Rushford over there on the YouTube side. Hello. Good to see you. Welcome. So basically, what we're going to need for this is a texture browser. So I'm going to get into that in just a second. But before I do, I want to just take a quick second and thank the supporters of the channel, beginning with our elite partner, Javier Lazaran, followed by our partners, Gaboli's Inc. and Matt Oscard. Those are the highest tiers of subscription over on YouTube memberships and Patreon, followed by the list of supporters you see here on the screen. They're a combination of the other tiers of support over on YouTube memberships, Patreon, as well as Twitch subscriptions. So thank you all very much for the support. It is greatly appreciated and helps me out in numerous ways, covering costs of running the channel, things like software licenses, hosting fees, occasional hardware failures, things like that. So it's greatly appreciated, and thank you very much for that. And of course, this channel and this project would be nothing without you guys, the viewers, whether you're joining us live on the YouTube side or the Twitch side, or if you're catching the VOD after the fact. Thank you guys very much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Okay. So, with that out of the way, what we are looking at now is, on the last stream, we actually had put in this sort of viewer for our materials in the terrain. And this is the materials that are available to the entire terrain. Now, right now, we only have 7 of them. I should probably rename these. And we can actually have up to 16 of them. So the idea is, generally speaking, that we want the ability to come in here and be able to edit these materials individually. And right now, for terrain materials, the only thing you can do is assign images to them. That is because terrain materials are special, and they operate different from our typical materials in that they blend together. There are also other requirements along with that, being that the material or the terrain materials itself uses array textures. That means that all of these textures have to be the same size. So technically right now we're not enforcing that. I don't think I'm going to enforce that through the texture editor, but that is something that we are going to have to implement at some point. So my immediate thought for this is, let's get something in that works in sort of the happy path. In other words, works as long as you don't, kind of go off the rails. And once we get that, then we'll start handling some of the exception case stuff. Singy, good to see you. From Lake, good to see you as well. Texture browser, interesting. Also hard to design a UI for that, from what I'm seeing. Diffuse, normal, and spec. So, this is actually not the texture browser. This is actually a terrain material browser. So, when I come in here to the HF terrain editor and I look at the generic or general mode, what we're presented here is a list of materials. And right now, the only thing that we can visualize is just the textures themselves. And so what we want is the ability to, say, come in here and click one of these image boxes and say, when I click this image box, I want to open a texture browser that shows me all of the textures that are available across the board. And I should be able to search those or scroll through a large list of them and be able to pick one. And then once I pick one and click an OK button, what that would do is that would then come in here and say, hey, I've picked a texture, assign that to this particular slot, and then go ahead and load it up and get it loaded into the terrain so that you can actually see it working. The other thing, so that's one of the modes that the texture browser has to work in, is basically some sort of control saying, hey, when I click this particular thing, I need to select a texture. And if we click OK, then that's cool. We go ahead and take the texture back as part of our, I guess, accepted response. But we should also be able to cancel out of that and have it not take effect. So that's kind of the other thing that has to happen. So whenever we click this, like let's say I accidentally clicked into this flowers, right? And I really didn't want to change that one. I wanted to change this grassy one down here. I should then be able to cancel and have it not actually affect this. And I should not have to go in there and like reselect the flower texture in order to have it assigned correctly. So we need a function that basically says, I've canceled this and I've made no selection. So that's the second mode. The third mode is we should be able to open the texture browser at any time and just kind of view what textures are there. And through that particular mode, and maybe the other modes as well, I'm thinking that's probably where we're going to actually handle texture imports as well. And we haven't really done that outside of command line utilities. So that's another thing that we're going to look at, is giving ourselves a window to import new textures in and have those actually be writable to the asset manifest, which we're also going to have to hook up. And so that's going to be a part of it as well. So this texture browser is going to have a few different modes available to it. It's basically going to have a selection mode, and then it's just going to have sort of a viewing mode. And that is kind of what I'm thinking in terms of how we actually handle its operation. So what I'm thinking is we essentially have another panel that pops up probably in the middle here. And I may have to handle this a little bit differently depending on how we resize the window, obviously, because the window's kind of, if you get it tiny, right, you're not really going to have a lot of space here. So it may have to overlap everything else, and it may not actually matter once you resize the window large, but I may have to actually bring that on top of everything else in terms of where and when it gets rendered. So that's another thing I'm going to have to consider as well. So our ways of accessing this is going to be, there's going to be two main ways of accessing it. One through a picker like this, some sort of editor that needs an image selected, and we click on that. And then two, we're also going to add a button over here to be able to just open it in the normal mode. So I think that's probably what I'm going to implement first, is just getting the texture browser working, getting the searching working, and getting the ability to maybe select working. Anyway, so that is the plan. So I think probably let's go ahead and get the button in there right below tree. I guess that's probably the next step. And I'm actually going to close this buffer for a second. And let's say we come down here to our main window. We're actually going to take the tree mode button, and I'm going to copy pasta this. And we're going to put it down here. And we're going to call this texture browser. And the important distinction from this, between this and the other buttons, is this is not actually going to toggle any sort of mode. This is all this is going to do is bring up another window. And within that texture browser, we're going to have other modes available. But for right now, it's basically just going to have, it's not going to affect the actual editor mode. So this is going to be texture browser button. And we've got texture browser button there. Let's call this text browser. I don't think that's going to fit, but we'll see. So we want texture browser button. I don't know if that's going to fit in 115 pixels, but we'll see. And then we're going to have to set up the on-click as well. So let's actually go ahead and just go ahead and stub out a function for that. So we're going to say let's do the texture browser button clicked. And we'll come down here and I'll just do this. Oops. All right, and I think what I'll do is I'll probably just copy pasta the contents of this and comment out that bit. So, or actually, I guess maybe I'll just do that bit so that we don't get it bleating about unused variables. So this will be the texture browser button clicked. All right. So we've got that, and then we can go back here and modify the position of it. So let's see, what were we doing? We had, I guess these are spaced into 50 pixel rows, so this one's going to be 200. All right, so let's just make sure that that works really quickly. Let me see. Loving the series. Any plans to support the Cosmic Crisp Vulkan on Mac OS? So the long-term plan for Mac OS is actually to go ahead and support Metal. So that is that's what I'm going to work towards, and we're probably going to have to start on that before too much longer. I kind of want to get some more of the rendering stuff done and nailed down, and get all of the rendering bits that we need nailed down before I do that. But I think before release, we are going to wind up writing a Metal backend. So, did you figure out the problem with your recording card yesterday? Yeah, I eventually did. It was really strange. I had an OS update, and then that broke, so I was like, cool, let me reboot. And that didn't solve it. So I was like, okay, well, let me try reinstalling the driver for it. That didn't work either. And then I tried a bunch of things like plugging it into a different USB slot. That didn't work. And then I tried moving it around, reinstalling the driver again, rebooting again, and it still didn't work. And then I was like, okay, let me reboot one more time, and then it worked. But that was after like an hour of troubleshooting. And so by the time I got it working yesterday, I was like, yeah, there's not going to be enough time to even warrant starting up the stream, so I didn't. That's cool you did so much. Yeah, we've made some pretty decent progress lately. My entire engine backend is a nightmare. Oof. I mean, I've been there and done that. Yeah, so I programmed this with it in mind that I was going to have multiple rendering backends. So Vulkan's just one of them. Metal's going to be the next one that we do, and eventually we're going to do DirectX as well. And then maybe I'm considering anyways, for old hardware and like legacy devices, it's really, like, there's some stuff that's really annoying to have to keep around in Vulkan for that stuff. And I'm really considering actually having also an OpenGL backend for all that legacy hardware, where it just basically says, okay, well, if you don't have the features that we want in terms of Vulkan support, then we're putting you on GL, and that's it. So I think that's probably the way I'm going to go, because that's going to allow me to get rid of a lot of legacy Vulkan crap, as it were. So yeah, that's that's kind of the plan. So I guess probably rendering backends, right? Whole YouTube went out a minute ago, had to switch browsers. Oh, geez. Hate when that happens. Going to be a nightmare for me to migrate to other rendering APIs in my engine. Yeah, that's why I separated it, so I don't have to contend with that. Apotham, good to see you. How have you been? Hope you're doing well. All right, let's see. Do we actually get... Oh, interesting. Did I not change the callback? Tree mode button clicked. Yeah, I must not have changed the callback. I didn't. What a dingus. All right, so that's texture browser button clicked. There. And I did find that the texture browser the text doesn't actually fit. So how can I shorthand browser? I mean, that seems kind of stupid. What is the shorthand for browser, actually? This is where an image would probably help. See what Google has to say. Nothing useful, as usual. Shorthand for the word browser. It's just giving me for like GCR for Chrome and SF for Safari. That's not what I need, you dingus. All right. Well, I'm not going to worry about it, I guess. I'm going to do text B. That's going to be our texture browser, I guess. I suppose I could shrink the font. That's probably going to look like ass, but I suppose I could do that. Just to get it to fit. This is what my engine does. I have a legacy renderer, a modern renderer, and it picks one depending on the features. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to ultimately wind up doing. I'll try to create a Vulkan renderer, and then during the feature detection stage, if what I want isn't there, then I'll fall back to GL. I think that's the way I'm going to do it. Because that's going to allow me to get rid of a whole bunch of crap out of the Vulkan backend, and actually it will allow me to switch to bindless, which would be pretty sweet. Because the hardware support is improving for that, but it's still not quite there in terms of like wide support. NVIDIA can make N1X chips turn all laptops into gaming computers, but it's ARM. Start coding ARM compatibility. It's worth $1. Worth $1 billion. Yeah, I mean, so the Mac here that I have, that is also the streaming machine, but also what I use to port this, is an M1. So at some point when we do SIMD, I'm going to be doing the SIMD version of that for ARM, because that's an ARM-based processor. So I will be doing that at some point. Let me rebuild this and see if this works. Where's my... Here we go. That's better. Texture browser button clicked. Okay, cool. So what we're basically going to do, I think this, I might actually have this work as like a toggle button where when you click it, it's just going to open or close the window, or maybe it just always opens it. And if it's already open, then it just bats you away. So let's go to, this is actually getting a little bit crazy with the controls here. We may wind up having to split some of this out at some point. But I don't think I'm going to do that tonight. I think what we're going to do is I'm actually going to take this bit here and use it as my template to create the texture browser. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll move this to a different compilation unit later. So what we want is, let's see, that's general content. I need one more thing. I guess I probably need a background panel. Do I need column stuff? I don't think so. I need a background panel, a title. Yeah. So let's call this, or these two, we'll say text browser, BG panel and title. And then we'll do, let's do text browser content. Wait a minute, let me think about this. Text browser content. I don't need that one actually. All I need is the scrollable control. and the content container. So we'll do text browser. So we have the scrollable control, the content container, which is what's inside the scrollable control. And then, so material names, we don't need that. We just need, actually we only need one array of these image boxes. So we're just going to actually have material. Actually, it's just going to be text browser image boxes. So we're going to need that, and we're going to need, this is going to have to actually be an array of these things. So we don't know what the size of that's going to be. That's going to be up to our however many entries we have. So we'll do a U32, let's see, text browser, text count, right? And then this will just be the size of count, and then we'll also have text browser labels. So essentially, these will be just little labels that are underneath of it that give us the name, I guess. And actually thinking about it, we do have some other stuff that we probably should display along with the texture, right? So when we actually click a texture, we should probably have like an inspector window that gives us a little bit of data about that particular texture. So I guess that would be, I guess we would probably want like a right column X. I guess that does make sense. So let's put this here, and we'll have text browser right call X. And we should probably also define, let's see, do we want to, I guess we do need to resize that window. But we should also have a vec2i text browser min size. So we don't want it to shrink any more than that. And that's basically going to be whatever this right column X is plus some other amount for our scrolling container. Let's see. Whoa, there's a bunch of chat over here. Let's see. My engine only has OpenGL for rendering APIs. I have a forward renderer, deferred renderer, and a ray tracer. Been thinking about picking up an M1 just to play around with metal and for some other reasons. Yeah, I've been very happy with this M1 machine. I know there's like M4 and maybe M5 out now. And actually my work machine is an M4. But this M1 still is plenty powerful for what I need. And the battery life on it is excellent. Say what you will about Mac OS, but their hardware is really good. Let's see. Meaning desktop would be dead. What do you mean by that? Oh wait, I missed a message. They haven't done that yet, but inlining 6 chips with unified memory makes them essentially a desktop in terms of gaming. Yes, that's true. Let's see. I don't have a full BVH, only broad phase culling, so ray tracing complex scenes sometimes actually crashes my graphics driver. Yeah, I believe that. All right. I think I'm going to have to skip some messages, but isn't there a tutorial for BVH called BVH in a single day? Is there? I don't know. I just rolled mine from scratch one day. It's not the best implementation, I suppose, but it works. All right. Anyway. Silent Wyland, how's it going? Is developing on a Mac better than using a Windows machine? I personally think yes. I can't stand working on Windows anymore. Just the other day, I was having an issue where you're supposed to be able to hit the Windows key on your keyboard and search. And instead of doing that, I couldn't actually focus the search text box within the start menu. All it would do is, as I was typing, it was just trying to select from the icons of my pinned items. And I could not get it to select the actual, or focus the actual search control in the start menu. And pressing the start key to get the start menu to show up took somewhere between like 10 and 15 seconds to actually get the stupid start menu to come up. And this is a powerful machine. Like it's so terrible. I only boot into Windows when I absolutely have to these days. I prefer Linux. Linux is my number one, but Mac OS is right behind it for me. Windows is just so terrible. And it's only getting worse. All right. I think this is enough to get started on for now. So I'm actually going to take all of this stuff and we're going to go to, let's see. I guess we should probably do move on beyond this. Right below the HF terrain panel, we're just going to put this stuff here. So we're going to say that this is the section for our texture browser. Now, like I said, I'm probably going to wind up moving this. Eventually, we're going to do like a cleanup pass to kind of move and organize this stuff a little bit better. But for now, this is what we're dealing with. So what I actually want is I'm going to take a copy of what I did in the general mode for the terrains, because it has almost exactly what I need to actually get started. So we're going to do that, and then probably forget to change some stuff, have some bugs to chase down, and go from there. But anyway, so we don't actually need this checkbox, so that can actually go away. The background window, however, we do need. So it's going to wind up being almost exactly like this. So we're actually going to copy pasta this. And this is going to be the texture browser background. I guess we could say /window. That is something that we're going to need to add also very soon, is windows to this. Just to be able to have like something that can be resized, closed, minimized, things like that. We need window functionality or dialog boxes, whatever you want to call them. We need some of that here soon. But for now, we're going to do text browser BG panel. And let's see, we want to add this to the, let's see, what were we adding the panels to? Forget. Let's see, it should be in here somewhere. Editor root, that's what it was. Let's skip past this. So we want to add this to editor root. So that's going to be that. As far as the position goes, let's see. Wait a minute, we have position, but not. We don't actually have the size here. We should probably figure that out. So, oh wait a minute. This is a base control. We want a panel. Yes, we want a panel. Panel control creates. And that one does take a size. I was going to say, it seems a little bit what was it? It was size and then color, right? Yeah. So vec2, for the original size, we're just going to do, I guess let's go with 400 by 300. And then when we resize the window, we'll just resize that as well. And then for the color, we will do 0, 0, 0, 0.8. So that's basically transparent black. And then in terms of the position, we're not going to want it that far over to the left. We're probably going to want this at like 200 or so. And then from the top, I guess probably, let's give ourselves lots of room. Let's say 50. All right, so that's that. Let's see, the content. We actually don't need we don't need this one. We need the scrollable content control. So that is going to be the text browser scrollable control. And, oops, didn't do that one. And then this needs to be the text browser BG panel is what that gets added to. And then the text browser content container is the content container of the text browser scrollable control. All right, so texture listing. I think I'm going to keep the 64 pixel image box size. I suppose we could make that a little bit. You know what? Let's actually make that a little bit. Maybe let's go 128 on that. And then image box padding, we will say is 5.0. Actually, we're going to need, yeah, 5.0 is fine. Okay. All right, so the next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to essentially query for a list of textures. And thinking about this, probably the way to do this is actually, we should probably do this query when we actually request the window, because we are going to have, at some point, we're going to have the ability to import. And so that list can change. So this bit, I guess I can go ahead and fill this in for now. But yeah, all right, that's fine. Okay, so the way that I'm thinking about this is, well, let me actually change the names of these things first. So text browser labels sub I, and this is going to be text browser labels and labels. And then we're going to want, let's see, so the name, do we really care about the name? The name of the control, that is. Yeah, I guess we probably should. So we'll do texture browser image label blah blah blah, right? And maybe I'll just do double underscores just to make it unique. And then this is going to be texture whatever. This will wind up being to do the texture name. But for right now, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so we create the label. We add it as a child to the text browser content container. and then we need to set its position. We're going to come back to setting the position, actually. And in fact, I'm actually going to move the position setting down here. And this is going to be the image box. And we should probably actually, let's actually just put them in the order that they're going to kind of appear. So we're going to do texture browser image box as the name. And then this is going to be texture browser image boxes sub I. And then this is going to be the same thing. And the onClick, actually, let's do onClick show metadata. I guess we could do select and show metadata. And then maybe also a to-do double click selects and returns if in selection mode, which we haven't defined yet. That's fine. I just want to get it in there. Okay, so make sure it's going to the right container. All right, so there's our image box, and there is our label. So the way that we're going to do this, and I do understand here that we haven't made this query yet. So let me actually to do this. And we're going to actually want to do a U32 on this one, because that's going to be potentially, I mean, definitely more than 255 results at some point. Okay, so positioning. For the positioning, we're basically going to want a grid. So we're going to want to figure out, for each one of these, we're going to have the image, and then we're going to have the text right underneath of it. And probably we're going to wind up like using like an ellipsis or something, and not, you know, just showing the first X number of characters or whatever will fit. And then when you click into it, you'll actually see like the inspector window where you can see the full name of stuff and maybe even rename it and stuff like that. But we're going to have the image box at the top and then the text right below it. And so we'll need to figure out how large that's going to be. And then we'll put them one next to the other. Until we actually run out of space to actually put one. And then we'll kind of go down to the next row and do the same thing, and to the next row, etc. So I guess let's do texture count and change this to texture count so that we don't have rubbish there. All right, so we decided that the image box size is going to be 128 pixels in both directions. I think that's fine. And the padding is going to be 5. Now, the label is going to use our standard font size, which I believe is like 30 pixels. Let's see, font size equals, okay, 32. So we're going to take that and use that directly, actually. So what we'll do here is we'll say F32, and we'll do a I guess we'll call this yeah, okay, so we'll call this texture tile size X. Actually, why don't we just do a vector 2 for this? Vec2. text tile size, right? And so we can say vec2 creates. So this one is going to be image box size plus image box padding. That's going to be the X. That's simple enough. The Y is going to be image box size, image box size plus image box padding plus states font size plus image box padding again for the bottom. And so we're going to use this to essentially position all of these depending on where we are in the grid. So what we'll do is we'll do a, and actually this is probably going to wind up being a separate loop at some point to reposition these, but we'll do a F32, or I guess no, it would be a U32. Yeah, let's just do a U32. So we'll say U32X equals 0, U32Y equals 0. Thank you guys for the follows. I appreciate that. Welcome. So whenever we do this, essentially after this, we're always going to increment X. So we're going to say X or plus plus X. Thank you again for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome. So we'll say plus plus X, and then actually before this, we'll say if, let me see. We will do, let me think about how, did I define the content size of this? I don't think I did yet. We need to figure that out. So states, text browser, did I only do, I only did the minimum size, didn't I? I did. Okay, so we'll have to figure that out, I guess. I guess for right now, let's use, oh, the scrollable control width is actually going to be wrong. Let's see, we want HF terrain window width. Let's actually use this. The width of this. So we'll say the F32 scrollable width is equal to states actually I guess we're gonna have to use crap. I was going to hard code this here, but I guess I kind of can't. We need that stored. Text browser window size. So we'll do states text browser states text browser window size. Use vec2 create, and whoops, and we'll just take this. All right, and so for this we'll just do, whoops. If I could quit hitting the wrong buttons, that would be awesome. Okay. State text browser window size. There we go. Okay, so scrollable width is going to be state text browser window size X minus state, let's see, right call X. And we haven't defined that yet either. So we're going to say that the states right call X, which is basically going to be the space for the inspector, let's go ahead and make that 200 pixels for now. And actually, let's widen this a little bit. Let's make this 500, right? So that'll give us 300 pixels to start off with. At 128 a pop, though, that's not going to be very much. All right, let's make, you know what, 128 is kind of, 128 is kind of large for this, I feel like. All right, let's actually cut this back because I think 128 is a little bit too big. Let's go with 96. Right, so at least our... Actually, you know what, screw it, let's go 64. If we want them larger, we can always blow it up, but I want more on the screen for right now. Okay, so what we'll do is here, we're going to say if text tile size x times x, right? The number of the tile that we're on, plus text tile size. I guess we could just do x plus 1. Thinking about it. So if that is greater than the text browser, didn't I set the width here somewhere? I did not. I set scrollable width here, but I didn't actually set it here. There we go. Scrollable width. So if it's greater than scrollable width, then what we're going to do is we are going to say x equals 0 and y equals, or we'll just increment y. Otherwise, we'll do this bit. Let me think about this. Do I need to do that before or after? We should probably do that. This check probably needs to be done before. This needs to be done after, I guess. Because this is saying, are we going to have enough space? No, we're not. Go to the next line. If we are going to have enough space, then we increment x, but we don't want to increment x before we actually set the position. I think that's right. And I really don't want to do this twice, so let's actually just grab this and extract this out. Right, has space. And then we'll do if not has space. Or wait a minute, no. If this is if not has space, this is if has space. And then we'll put that there. Okay, so the way that this is going to work is we are going to, for the, actually, we are just going to say text tile size x times x, and then text tile size y times y. And that will give us the position for the image, which is going to be correct. Now, the position for the label is going to be a little bit different. It's actually going to wind up being, so let's actually do vec3 position let's extract this out because I'm going to use it more than once. Let's grab this, put that there. And what we can do here is we can actually just do pause, but we're going to do vec3 sub. And from that, we're going to say vec3 creates, and that's going to be 0. And from that, we're going to subtract. So we want the state font size plus, what did I say that was? Padding. Image box padding. And then 0 for the third. All right. So let's see. We have one more of those. One more. Why is it? Oh, are we still short one? Yeah, we are. Okay. All right. So that should at least position them correctly. Okay. So at some points, we are going to wind up separating out positioning logic from the actual creation logic. But at least for right now, we're going to do it all together. Now, before we can actually test this, we need a way to obtain a list of textures. And I've actually already started in the asset handler, or the asset system, rather. I've already started a function in here to get by type. I don't know if I exposed it in the head or not. It doesn't look like I did. Oh, asset system names by type. Okay. So, what this does is it basically goes through and calls the VFS saying, give me the asset names by type. So here we say, here's the state, here's the asset type that we want, here's a package name, so we can sort by package name if we want to, and it outputs a count and an array of those things. If we go to the VFS, what this basically does is it sets up a D array, loops through packages, and then if the package name either matches or we pass invalid package name, which means give me them all, then it goes ahead and grabs the K package asset names by type, which basically means it goes through the asset manifest, looks at the type of asset, and grabs the names of those assets for that particular type. On that note, because I don't think I went over this before because I did this kind of off stream. I went through and started kind of scaffolding what some of the enhancements to the asset manifest might look like. And for the time being, I put just the type in there for each one of the assets. So that's been added. Eventually, we won't be hand rolling this anymore. And this stuff will be serialized, so it won't matter. But for right now, we do have the type in there. So we see a bunch of images here. And then if we scroll down a little bit further, we've got some models and materials and other models and more materials. And there's some other stuff in here too, if I could find it. Here's some audio, right? So we have all of these different types that we can query by. And so when the asset manifest is read in, we can get those types. So all we really need to do at this point, because most of that heavy lifting has already been done, is we should just be able to say asset names, asset system names by type is all we should have to do. So here, we're going to do kname array, and we're going to do texture names. Well, let's see. Tino's Hut with a raiding party of 6. Thank you so much for the raid. How are you doing? what did you get up to on stream? There is a shout out, and I'm going to go ahead and follow you as well. Let's see, it looks like you were... Actually, it doesn't give me the title of it. Oh, there it is. Game deving, feel free to ask questions. Oh, cool. All right. So that looks like, okay. Well, very cool. Well, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, raiders. All right, so let me just take a quick second and give you guys a rundown of what we're doing. Give me a second just to pull things up here. So we have built something called the Kohi game engine, which is a game engine built completely from scratch in C, using Vulkan as our primary rendering backend, or our initial rendering backend. I say initial because we do have plans for Metal, Direct 3D, and maybe OpenGL in the future. It is cross-platform compatible. It runs on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS at the moment. It is open source and free. It's available on GitHub. I will pop the link to that in chat now. The engine itself is, as I mentioned, open source. It's Apache 2.0 license, which means you could use it for whatever you want, whether it be commercial or personal, it does not matter. This is built as an educational series on a way to build a game engine. It's not the only way to build a game engine. It's not necessarily even always the right way to build a game engine, but we do a deep dive into all kinds of aspects of building a game engine, and we thoroughly check into, or discuss rather, what works and what doesn't, and why. And so there's a lot more information here on this website, including we've got a forum set up. We recently set up an IRC server. We are moving away from Discord, but we do still have that up there, as well as GitHub links. We do simulcast to YouTube and Twitch, so all of that stuff is available there, as well as the repo here, which has got some dated screenshots on it. So this is the first part of it. So we've built this engine, and the engine is not what I would say is ready to ship a game on yet, but we've started actually developing a game. And the game is called Shadows of Illumina, and I don't really have a whole lot to visually show on that at the moment, but it is a 3D action RPG with an isometric camera perspective. And it's, like I said, the whole thing's being developed from scratch, so it's sort of the litmus test of the engine, right? We built the engine, now we're building a game on top of the engine, and that's just sort of, we go back and forth between developing the two. So yeah, that's kind of the quick intro as to what we're doing. And what we're doing right now is we're actually working on editor stuff. So we're building an editor from scratch as well. And everything you see here is all, let's see, can I actually run this? I don't think I've attempted to build it since I've made all these code changes, so maybe it will run. Let's see. Yes, looks like it's going to. Okay. So obviously, you know, we've got a character that can run around and jump and swing an invisible sword and that kind of thing. But we also have an editor set up where we can actually interact with the various bits of the map. So we can actually go into entity mode and select an entity and move that around. We can go into a tree mode and kind of view all of the different entities in the scene and be able to interact with those. And then we also have a terrain mode, which I can use. Let me shut off some of these debug options. Actually, I can leave the skybox on. So the terrain mode is what we're working on right now. And so we have the ability to come in here and paint textures. I guess I can go over here and just do it, and I just won't save it. So we can actually paint textures onto the terrain. We can choose different materials. So I'll pick a different one here, change the diameter of my brush. And now we're painting a different material on top of that. We have the ability to change our elevation, so I can actually, you know, change bits of it at a time. We can shrink down this diameter to something a little bit smaller and shrink or that. And so we have, the ability to do all these different things. A lot of it, there's a lot of fine tuning needed. There's a lot of adjustments needed, but, we can save that out. And so what we're working on right now is a texture browser, which is going to allow us to view all textures in the system. Because our terrain system, we need basically a way to set up our terrain materials. And one of the things that you need to set up a terrain material is the ability to select textures. So we've already kind of hard-coded these ones in there, but we need the ability to actually set that up. So this is kind of where we're at the moment. There's a lot more that I could show, but I think that's the relevant stuff for the time being. I hope that makes sense. And thank you for the follow, by the way. 100% take a look if I have to develop a game engine. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. You may, warning though, you may get into it and decide you want to do that instead. But yeah, no, I love it, and it's a lot of fun, and I've learned a lot doing it for sure over the years. So, all right. So, I have issues with Windows. There's some reasons why I wouldn't use it. Don't really have favorite deep down. Just feel like switching to Linux on my main system. That's about it. Yeah, I mean, Windows has gotten so awful, especially since Windows 11, that I avoid it like the plague. I mean, I ported this to it, right? So I do pop into Windows when I need to do some OS specific stuff, but thanks for the intro. Looks cool. Awesome. Well, welcome. Want to finish the game first, then, yeah, or I'll get stuck on it. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. If you've already got something going, then definitely go for that, right? Okay, so we just enhanced our asset system to actually be able to query things by type. I've not actually tried this yet, so I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll find out. So we want engine systems get asset state, and then what was the next thing? I think it was type, and then package name, and then count. Okay, so type, we want k asset type image, and then I guess this should technically be called, well, I mean, it is a texture browser, but the assets are images. I guess texture browser is fine. We want k name invalid, or is it invalid k name? I can't remember. Invalid k name. And then we want to hold the texture count. Okay. So there's that. Let me bat this out of the way for a second. So that's our texture names. So now we should be able to, with that, go through to our textures. And I think for now, well, no, I guess we need to actually assign a texture to this, don't we? So we need to do a KUI image box texture set by name. So we want the Kohi states. The control is going to be state text browser image boxes sub I. The asset name is just going to be texture names sub I. And the package name. Ooh, I didn't think about that. I guess I could, let me try invalid kname. We may actually have to return the package names along with this array. I didn't think about that. We will see what that winds up doing. And I'm just going to throw an assertion around this just to make sure that it works as we expect. And I guess for our text, instead of doing this, let's actually just use the texture name, right? So we'll say kname string get, And we'll do texture names sub I. Okay. I feel like that's most of it. What did I miss here? Oh. Arrow instead of dot. What do I have? Oh, again. All right. All right, let's build it. Oh. I put these up here for reference and forgot about them. Let's just comment them out. All right. I'm not sure this is going to work, but we'll find out. Oh, you know what? I don't think I allocated that array, did I? What a dingus. All right. Dingus-oriented programming at its finest. I did not allocate either array, actually. So we're going to do... I want to do states, texture, browser, image boxes, KLic type C array. And this is going to be a KUI control. And the count is going to be texture count. I don't know why that keeps doing that. All right, so we have texture browser image boxes and then text browser, what did I say, labels? Yeah, labels, okay. And that's also going to be texture counts. Okay. See if I did anything else dingus worthy. Gotta go for now. Hope you have a good stream. Well, thank you so much again for the raid. I appreciate it. Appreciate it, and I'll try to check you out if I happen to be online the next time you stream.
You dingus.
Nivimi, good to see you. How you doing? Thank you for the follow. Let's see. Acquire with options. Either name or image asset name is required. Eh? But why? Enter initial. Wait a minute. Did it not? Why did it not? Oh, is it because I wrapped it in an assertion that it just clobbered the breakpoint completely? All right. That's cool. I guess let's do an if around this. Image not loaded, you dingus. All right, so this is obviously going to be temporary, but we'll clean this up once we actually have something up and running. Okay, well, it didn't immediately poop itself this time. That's good. All right. All right, so it shows up there. Shadows logo trans. Oh, wait a minute. Did we not? Yeah, those are all stacked on top of each other. And the positioning of that is rubbish. Okay. So we need to move that. And the show and hide is also not working, but that's fine. So let's actually do, let's move this to, you know what, let's actually move this to 300. We've got a little bit of space there. And, oh, wait a minute, that's not what I wanted to edit. I want this one. Okay, and let's see. Where did we go wrong with our positioning? So we use, oh, dingus. So this is going to be text browser image boxes sub I. Okay, so that actually explains that one. It doesn't explain this one though. So we just subtract that on the Y. I don't know. Oh, actually it does explain that one because the initial position was wrong. So actually, yes, it does. It does explain it. All right. Did we only get one result for that? That doesn't seem right. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. Either name or image asset name is required. Why? Oh, there's two places that could be. Oh, which one of these is throwing it? Okay. I have to relaunch for this one, unfortunately. Been arguing with the one guy recently about why RAII is bad. He's a Rust guy. His only argument was, ew, double free, ew, use after free, ew. Like I didn't have any of these errors once in my life. Had a memory corruption. I had memory corruption once when I implemented Growable Arena, and that's it. Yeah. I got what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, so that is what I like to call emotion-based programming, is when people start making comments like that. When it's just, you know, when they're like, oh, I don't like this, ew. It's not based on any kind of fact. It's just based on their emotions with it, right? Not a fan of RAI or Rust, but I do get double frees as well as corruptions. Just to deal with it. Yeah, exactly. Like, you just fix it. It's not that hard. Really is not that hard. What's up? How's it going, by the way? All right. So, why are these both? Acquire from package. Why is the name nothing? What the heck? So we have texture names sub I. So what is in? Are we not pushing to this array correctly or something? Let's see, texture count 46. That's about what I would expect. Let's get rid of these. And we'll do 46. Wow, they are all 0 except for the first one. Well, no, not some of them. Some of those are correct, but why is that the case? Okay, I'm going to have to step into that. I wasn't sure if this worked or not, to be fair. So, if package name equals invalid name, which it does, then we go into the package and we get the asset names by type. outputting the count. And then we push those into this, which is ultimately what gets returned, correct? Yeah, okay. So we take a count, so I don't need to loop through all of that. So IDX, oh, I see the issue. We're not incrementing IDX. So we're just writing to the first, I see. Okay. That's some dingus-oriented programming for you right there, too. So we have IDX here. Whenever we write to this, we need to do IDX plus plus. Okay. Let's go ahead and run this one more time. And I'm actually going to kill that breakpoint. If you understand what you're doing, you'll not get those errors that often. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I get them when I'm like being super like trying to like stand something up quickly. But I always go back and like run tests against it to make sure that I didn't miss anything and actually reread my code before I go committing stuff. It's not a perfect solution, but it does work. There we go. Okay, so now our texture names are populated. Good. All right, so let's go ahead and load that. Segfault. I need to figure out what this is. This is a Heisen bug that keeps popping up every once in a while. And it's always during startup. For some reason, I, on occasion, get a null image. I don't know if I want to debug this now, but it's super random. What shader even is this? I'm just gonna relaunch. I'm not gonna worry about that for now. I know I have to fix it. Okay, so oh, you know what? I forgot to set the content size. But we're only getting one. Looks like one of these per row. Why is that? And it actually looks like for some reason the image is coming after the label, which is also wrong. So we have the image, and we set the position down here for that. So image boxes, and then text browser labels. So it should be, we start off at x0, has space is x plus 1. Oh, that should be less than scrollable width. Or actually less than equal. Oh, and while I'm in here, I should probably do, when I'm done at the end here, I will do F32 total height is equal to, and I'm going to want to set this to text tile size dot y times, I think y plus 1, I want to say, is going to be the answer there. And then when I set the scrollable content size, that is going to be, let's see, did I actually already, I think scrollable width is what I had here. Scrollable width, and then I guess we could say scrollable height. scrollable height. There. Now we should actually get our scroll bar too. It did it again. What in the dingus? Instance ID 3. Okay, what is this actually trying to do? Okay, it's the UI. Binding instance ID, so it's just binding a control. Huh. I don't know why it's actually doing that. Whatever. I'm going to restart it again. I have a feeling there's a race conditioning happening somewhere. Oh, really? It's going to keep doing it? Maybe it's not a race condition. Oh, wait a minute. I know what it might be. Let me think. Do we actually have global UBO instance count is 512? Well, okay, that should be more than enough. Maybe it's not. I am adding a lot of controls. I bet I just kind of blew that out of the water. So instance ID, it's always 322, which is interesting. I don't know if that actually means anything. So 322 state instances. Max instance count. That's the set state. Max instance counts is 1024. That should be plenty. So why are we getting... This makes me wonder if this is just wrong somewhere. Like my indexing is wrong or something. I haven't touched this in forever, though. It's making me kind of wonder why. Image index is 0. Texture images. It's not even been set up yet. Which renderable is this? Let's see. I don't think actually 517. Oh, this is probably one of the intermediate controls. Atlas override. Texture ID 82. So more than likely it is one of these image boxes I've added. I'm wondering, did I do something stupid like pass the wrong type for one of these things? Image box creates. Image box control, set button name. This is label control set. Yeah. Doesn't seem like something that's gone out of bounds. I wonder if it's actually trying to use a texture that's just not loaded yet. I wonder if that's the issue. It's kind of seeming like it might be. So when I do this, yep, I'll bet that's what's happening. Yeah, I don't think it's a descriptor issue at all. I think the texture isn't loaded. And then when it tries to render it, it doesn't realize that it's not loaded yet. Okay. As a temporary hack, this is obviously not going to be the way to do this, but I'm going to change this to the synchronous function. Let's see if that makes any difference. Yep, that's what it was. Okay, that's suboptimal. But we can see here now that we have actually our stuff loading. Obviously, all these labels are over top of one another, and my freaking scroll bar isn't still there. Why? Let's see. So we set the scrollable height and scrollable width. Which is pretty similar to what we do here. Right, so we do, yeah, we're not doing anything different here. Oh, wait a minute, what is, scroll X and scroll Y are both true, which should probably be the same here. When we go to create the scrollable control here, actually, come to think of it, I don't want scrolling on the x-axis for this guy, just the y. So let's see, the control creates, let's see, that's 200. What is the height of the window? We're saying 300. And we've offset it by 50, so we can say 250 for this. Is it possible? No, it's not possible that we don't have... That's definitely should be overflowing. So we have 250 there. Am I doing anything on window resize that I don't remember? Scrollable control resize. I suppose I could try that. I shouldn't have to do that. But I suppose I could try just putting it in there. So for this, I'm going to do 250. And for this, I'll do scrollable width. Yeah, okay. I don't know if that's the issue or not. I'm going to have to see why it doesn't scroll if not. Should definitely be there. Nada. But why? This window isn't nearly large enough, but... let's see. Gonna go here, got stuff to do. Enjoyed stopping by. Love to see the engine, looks very cool. Keep on dingusing. Yeah, I will do. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Okay, so... Why? I mean, do I have to resize this? No. Right, if we go into tree mode, does this one work? Yeah. And this one works. Why this one no worky? Genuinely not understanding that. I could make these textures a little bit bigger too. That's kind of small. That's bizarre. Oh, maybe I didn't set... Did I not set the content? No, I set it on both axes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, scrollable width and scrollable height. I'm going to have to put a breakpoint here and figure out. Let's see, 905. Okay, scrollable height is 848. Scrollable width is 400. So we should be fine. Why is that not? So we set that, we do recalculate. We're not scrolled. Determine if we can scroll in any direction. True. Okay. So those things are visible. Help me understand this. The only thing I can think of is, do we have an active state issue here? So we add this to editor root, and then everything else gets added to it. Bat this over here. Texture names. Okay, so each one of these we add to the content container. I still don't see anything though that font size. I still don't see anything here that gives me any indication as to why this won't actually scroll. That is bizarre. And even if I resize, it doesn't seem to fix it. Have I broken something? So the BG panel. Oh, one more thing I keep forgetting to add also. I keep forgetting the window label. So right after the background control, this needs to be text browser title. Texture browser. And we want to add that to text browser BG panel. Okay. So we have that. We create this. We resize it. Maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to do it like last. I can't imagine that's the case, but. So we have scrollable width, which is set there. That is text browser. Oh, we saw that that was being created correctly. So the content container, we know that's adding to the correct content container. We know these are being positioned correctly. We know this is being set correctly. I wonder if it's literally just an issue of it just not. Okay. We do have the window size here. So let's take this. And, oh, wait a minute. That's to reset that, or to resize that. Get the content controller. Yeah, I'm really not seeing anything here that's sticking out. I suppose I could make this a different initial size. I really don't think that's it. I'm wondering if it has to happen after the load occurs, because that's the way all the rest of them work. And I'm wondering if this is kind of the same thing. Scrollable height is 848. So yeah, I think that's working correctly. I think it's just a matter of, we'll have to work in some resize logic here, I guess. Oh, interesting. Was that up like that before? I don't know that it was. Let me set this to like 100. It's almost acting like the resize isn't working. If that's the case, the content resizing might not also be working. Okay. So I think I've stumbled across the issue. So let me grab this and how do I want to do this? I guess I should probably cache the count, the texture count. Oh, I should be doing that anyways. I actually have the thing for it. So this should actually be states text browser texture count. Why does it do that? State text browser text count. All right. I'm actually going to grab this loop, all of it, all the way down to here. Go to resize, and we'll do texture browser. Now, I don't know that I'm going to actually resize the texture browser along with the window just yet, but I am going to use this to just refresh. Oh, text tile size. I don't have. Crap. Okay, text tile size. That's not a to-do anymore. So I guess let me go with these are here. I really ought to put them in the state as well. Let's put them here as well. Put them here. And we'll do also vec2 text tile size. Move these to states. And then this will be state. And now we can do this all the way across. And that's a really long ass line. So we are going to split that. And now we'll actually have, I'll have to do this here as well. Oops. Oh, scrollable width we don't have yet. I'll have to recalculate that, I suppose. All right, and this is going to be also state. One more. 3 more. Ah. Okay. So scrollable width is something I do need twice. How did we actually figure that out last time? So I think we actually just, yeah, we just did this. So we can actually just put that here. And get rid of the state pointer. I have a feeling it's just not triggering the update like it's supposed to. Oh, still not working. That's neat. Okay. Why is the resize logic not working, like, at all? Set content size. Oh, we didn't, I guess I could just do this as well. So let me actually go back to here because we have the scrollable. Yeah, here we go. That's what I want. Let's see. So I want that line to be replaced. All right, and scroll height resize. Okay. Let's actually just reset that. Let's set this to something just a bit different. Help me understand why that's not working. So I'm pretty sure if I put a breakpoint here and resize this, it's going to hit. Yep. Scrollable width. And then set content size to scrollable width and scrollable heights. I really don't understand. Update the vertices. And then in recalculates, y visible, that's false. Okay, min offset y is 0. Why is that? No pun intended. Bounds height 275. Container base bounds height 0. Oh. Do I have to do one before the other? That seems kind of poop, to be honest. That's the wrong control. Just noticed that. Yep, that would be why. Okay, so text browser, scrollable control, and text browser, content container. I'm just going to kill this breakpoint, actually. Oh, but why? Vertices, base, clip mask. Do we not? We don't have. Oh, I think there was something I had to do. Wasn't there something I had to check for? No. Did that actually come from the resize event, or? Text browser, content container. Oh. Oh. Wrong control is passed there. That would be why. These both have to be the scrollable control. Pretty sure. Yep. Yeah, they both have to be the scrollable control. Okay, that would actually explain a lot. Let's see, initialize. Yeah, this is the wrong control. So this should be scrollable control. Text, whoops. Scrollable control. And then the... Did we not do the content resize? No, we did the content resize down here. And this needs to be... text browser, scrollable control. I probably don't even need the resize logic anymore. In fact, I'm fairly confident that we don't. So I'm actually going to turn this back off for a second. There we go. Oh, it overflows into the scroll bar. That's pretty cool. That's a neat trick. All right, so I'll have to adjust the clipping area so it doesn't do that. But there we are. So we can actually see all of our textures here. Obviously, I could make this window a lot larger so that it's not so tiny, but I wanted to test the scrolling, which is what we spent some time on anyway. So the idea here is, now that we have these, I should expand this a little bit. Maybe I'll have it overlap the other windows so we can really take up some screen real estate here, just to kind of be able to view it a little bit better. But Els Dragoon got me this time. Got him. What's happening, chaps? Good to see you guys. I was moments away from raiding you. You got me. You got me. Yep, pwned. Exactly. Yeah, things are going pretty well. I'm setting up a new texture browser window, which, as you can see, is like all of the labels are messed up at the moment. But we just got this scroll container working, which is nice. So the idea here is that this basically just loads all of the textures that are available in the asset manifest, so that we can actually select them and use them for different things. I feel like we are missing some here, though. I feel like this is not all the textures that we have, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, because this is all terrain textures. Those are all unique. There's none repeating, right? No, I don't see any repeats. But I do feel like... maybe not, actually. No, I think we're good. I don't know. I'll have to go through the asset manifest and actually check. Anyways, so I was just basically working on building out our editor to show you guys a little bit more of what I've been working on recently, because I know you guys haven't been over here in a bit. So I've been working on this height field terrain, which is basically just this terrain thing that you see here. And we can go in here and paint different materials onto it. So I can go here and just paint like a roadway if I want. Or I can change that to a different material and maybe a smaller brush. And paint some grass. Or I think there's another, if I wanted to paint like some dirt, I think that's 0. So I can paint that and kind of muddy it up a little bit. And so I've worked on that, and then also we have the ability to kind of select the vertices and raise and lower the terrain. So the editors themselves still need some more work, but the basic functionality is there. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. And then at the moment, we don't really have a way to load in or assign new materials. So we can kind of view the materials that are set up here on the terrain, but we don't have a way to actually create new ones. So we are creating a texture browser to be able to do that, and then this will hook back into that so that we can actually click this, select a texture, and create a material that way. But yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. By the way, we're like bros now because we both use Arch as of like yesterday. That's awesome. I'm using Arch, by the way, if you look down here in the lower right. I called my machine Arch, by the way, for memes. That's awesome. This is the fabled BTW edition. Yeah, I love it. But yeah, so yeah, I've been doing that and you know, all kinds of good stuff. But this is kind of where we're at the moment. I have this little guy here that can run around and do different stuff, although I'm pretty sure I just crashed it. Nope, breakpoint. Never mind. Let me kill my breakpoints, actually. So we've got this little guy that can, you know, kind of run around a little bit and you know, hit stuff and jump and things like that. And so the idea is that eventually we're going to be putting more game systems in, put some enemies in, have them be able to fight and stuff like that. But that's kind of where we're looking at the moment. So nothing overly fancy, but you know, one step at a time, I guess, as it were. So it's coming along. Lots of weirdness, lots of things to try and figure out. But if I turn off some of this debug stuff here, there we go. So I mean, I've done a lot of work to make the water look a little bit better, and done a little bit of work on trying to get the terrain and the shadows to look better. So it's coming along. Had a rare triple stream tonight. My friend is impressed with your stuff. A triple stream? I'm sorry, I missed it then. But hello, friend. I'll have to go and watch the VOD. But yeah, unfortunately though, I I do have to run because I do have work in the morning, so I am gonna have to find somebody else to raid. But thank you again for the raid. I appreciate it. Yeah, if you could post it, that would be awesome. Or I think it's available on Twitch for a little bit, anyways. But let me find somebody to raid. And while I am doing that, if you guys are interested at all in game engine development or what goes into that, feel free to toss me a follow. I would greatly appreciate it. I actually see who I'm going to follow. Or a raid. We're going to raid Moonwood Games. So he's making a retro dungeon crawling roguelike RPG. And it uses blackjack as the combat mechanic, which is kind of interesting. So we're going to see what he's up to. It's a pretty cool looking game so far, what he's got. So, but yeah, if you haven't already, I'd greatly appreciate a follow on either side, either the Twitch side or the YouTube side. I simulcast both. So any of those is greatly appreciated. But yeah, that's where we're going to end it for tonight. And I will see you guys later. Have a good one.